Okay, so first of all, a rational number. The definition of a rational number is any number that can be written as a fraction. So fractions are rational numbers, but that also includes terminating and repeating decimals. Okay? So rational numbers can be fractions. So if you just put rational numbers in your notebook, just write rational numbers down. And then some examples. Since it can be a fraction, rational numbers could be like 1/2. That's a rational number. Can you give me another example of a rational number? Any number that can be written as a fraction. Give me another fraction. We really don't know of any other fractions. I'm really worried right now.
Oh, just like the fractions.
Any fraction. Brinley.
3/4.
3/4. Did she take yours?
Yes.
Of all the fractions out there, we all only know 2. Half and
I was
3/4.
gonna say 3/4.
Okay.
Those are the main ones that like you look
Oh,
at.
or 1/4.
1/3.
Right? Okay. 1/3, 1/5, 1/6, 1/7, 1/8. There's lots of them. Okay, and we could have all the negative fractions. How about 3? Do you think that's a rational number? Sure, how do I write the number 3 as a fraction? Put 3
Right.
over 1.
Yeah, I was right. Oh, I was.
So that's a rational number. Okay. How about -7? Is that a rational number? Yeah, because I could put -7 over 1. Okay, then it also says terminating and repeating decimals. What's a terminating decimal? What does that mean? What does it mean to terminate? Like the Terminator, have you ever seen that movie? I'm sure you've heard of it, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, it means to end. Terminate means stop or end. So decimals like 0.5 or 0.25. Those decimals stop or end, they're terminating decimals. We can also have repeating decimals like 0.3 repeating, 0.6 repeating. Okay, a repeating decimal is also a rational number. Okay, now so far this year we haven't really used a calculator much. I'm gonna start letting you use a calculator for some of these things. Okay, because you guys, in my mind, I think if I don't do this longhand, why would I make you guys do it longhand? Okay, I know you've learned longhand division, I know you've learned some of those things, but I don't think it's really necessary to have to do it all the time. So what we're going to look at the rest of the hour is making conversions between numbers and simplifying fractions. We're going to start with simplifying fractions. Okay, we have to know how to simplify a fraction. Because when we do our fraction problems, we always want it in simplest form. We want it simplified as much as possible. So to simplify a fraction, we're going to divide both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So if I take a fraction like this example here, 21 over 24, what number can I divide both 21 and 24 by? What number can I divide both of those by? Go ahead, Kaden. 3. So I can divide the top by 3, and if I divide the top by 3, I also have to divide the bottom by 3. 21 divided by 3 is 7. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So the simplified version of that fraction is 7/8. Okay? Now, some of you, I think, get stuck because you're not sure what to divide by. I want you to put this in your notes. Okay, so what you're seeing on the screen right now, we're going to write down some rules for divisibility. How do you know when you can divide by 2, divide by 3, divide by 5, divide by 9, or divide by 10? Okay, so I want you to write rules of divisibility. And some of you maybe know these tricks. Some of you have maybe forgotten these tricks. Okay. How do you know if you can divide a number by 2? What does the number look like if you can divide it by 2? Jada?
The number is equal.
It's even, okay? It's an even number. So numbers that can be divided by 2 end in a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. Okay? If the number ends in a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, you can divide it by 2 all the time. Okay, that's just a good trick to know. Does anybody know how you know if a number is divisible by 3? Yeah.
It's like you add the two things together and you can divide it by 3.
Yeah. If the sum of the digits is divisible by 3. Okay, so if I give you any number, like the number 24, I know that 3 goes into 24. Well, first of all, I know 3 times 8, but 2 plus 4 is 6, and 3 goes into 6, so it goes into that. So is 561 going to be divisible by 3? If you add the digits together, 5 plus 6 plus 1 is 12. Does 3 go into 12? Yeah. So therefore, it's going to go into 561. And so then you could use a calculator. And since you know that, you could say, well, then 561 divided by 3 is 187. Okay, so you can check numbers really quickly in your head that way. Okay, how do you know if a number is divisible by 5? What are we looking for if we know that we can divide it by 5?
If it ends in a 0 or a 5.
It ends in a 0 or 5. If it ends in a 0 or a 5, we know we can divide by 5. Okay. 9 is kind of like 3. Okay. If the sum of the digits, it's like lagging on me, is divisible by 9. Okay, so I could take a number like 108. I know that 108 can be divided by 9. Because 1 plus 0 plus 8 is 9. And 9 goes into 9. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? How do you know if a number is divisible by 10? How do you know if you can divide by 10? What does it end in?
0.
0, absolutely. It ends with a 0. Okay, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100, 5,000, 900. If it ends in a 0, you can divide by 10. Okay, so you guys tell me, if I give you this number, 512. Can I divide that? Actually, I'm going to change that a little bit. Sorry, 522. 522. Can I divide that by 2? Absolutely. Would that be divisible by 3? What's 5 plus 2 plus 2? 9. Does 3 go into 9? Yep. So I could also divide this by 3. Is it divisible by 5? No. Is it divisible by 9? 5 plus 2 is 9. So yes. Is it divisible by 10? No. Okay. How about 2,730. Is that divisible by 2? Yes, because it's an even number, right? It ends in a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. So we could divide this by 2. Is it divisible by 3? Two plus 7 plus 3 plus 0 is 12. Does 3 go into 12? Yep, so we could divide it by 3. Is it divisible by 5? If it ends in a 0 or a 5, so yep. Does 9 go into it? 2 plus 7 plus 3 is 12. Does 9 go into 12? No. And does 10 go into it? Yeah. Okay, so that's a quick, easy way. Now, obviously we don't have all the numbers listed, right? I skipped 4. I didn't worry about 4 because if you can divide by 2 and then you can divide by 2 again, we would just do 2. I skipped 6 because 2 times 3 is 6. So we really just need to check those. Okay. 7, you just have to check. 7 is a tricky one. Okay, I skipped 8 because 2, 2, and 2 is 8. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And then others higher than that, dividing by 11, dividing by 12, those you would just have to check, but those are not the most common ones. These are the most common. 2, 3, 5, 9, and 10 are the most common ones that we'll run into. Okay, so this helps us when we're simplifying fractions. If I'm going to take a fraction like, put this example in your notes, 9 over 55. And I want to simplify it. We have to find a number that we can divide both 9 and 55 by. Can you think of any? Besides 1, right? I can divide 9 by 1. Stays the same. I can divide 55 by 1. Does 2 go into both of these numbers? 3? Does 3 go into 55? 5 plus 5 is 10. 3. So, no, actually, this is in simplest form. Okay, that is already in simplest form. How about 12 over 15? What can I divide both 12 and 15 by? Does 2 go into both of them? No. How about 3? Yeah. So I'm going to divide by 3. Divide by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And 15 divided by 3 is 5. Am I done?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I have 4/5. And then 24 over 32. Kaden. 8, we could. Some of you are not going to see 8 right away. Okay, I could divide these both by 8. 24 divided by 8 is 3. 32 divided by 8 is 4. Okay, however, you guys recognize that if I had this fraction, 24 over 32, can I divide them by 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we could divide by 2 and have 12 over 16. Can I divide by 2 again? So I could divide by 2 again and have 6 over 8. Can I divide by 2 again? So I get 3 over 4. So sometimes you might have to divide more than once to get it simplified all the way. That's okay. Can you use your calculator if you need to help you do the division? Sure. Okay, I know some of your multiplication facts and division facts, we don't remember them all the time. You can use a calculator if needed. Okay? Questions from anybody at home? Unmute yourself and ask if you do. Okay, then we're going to keep going. Okay, here's where you need your calculator. I do not expect you to do this without a calculator. Okay, so if you do not have a calculator, your Chromebook has one. Okay, so I don't care if you're using your Chromebook as a calculator or if you have your trusty old calculator, handheld calculator. I don't even care if it's an expensive calculator. It can be like the cheapy ones. I mean the free ones that companies give out. It doesn't matter. Okay? So it says divide the numerator by the denominator. Where's the numerator? On top. So it's always the top divided by the bottom. Okay? So in your calculator, if I want to change 11/9 into a decimal, I'm just going to take 11 divided by 9. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a little trick here. It's for anybody who has this type of calculator at home, a Casio calculator. Is there anybody in here who is using this type of calculator? Anybody here? Not anybody? Nope, if yours says Texas Instruments, you're good, but if you're using a Casio calculator, when you type in 11 divided by 9, it gives you 11/9 as an answer. Okay? You then have to hit, there is a button that says SD. You have to hit that. So when you do 11 divided by 9, you should get 1 point. My board is being slow. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So it's repeating. 1.2 repeating. Okay, that's what you would write as your answer. Okay, so 7 divided by 20. 7 divided by 20. You should get 0.35. Did your calculator give you that? Okay, that's the easy way to do it. You're just going to use a calculator to help you with that. Questions there? Okay, you're just doing the top number divided by the bottom number. What happened to the rest of my notes? Oh, I skipped them. Okay, then the last one is decimal to fraction. If we're going to go from a decimal to a fraction, we need to know place value. Okay, so before we go through these problems, put this in your notes. 0.1234. Well, let's go that far. Okay, put that number in your notes. 0.1234. What place value, here's your decimal point, what place value is the 1 in? You guys know what place value that is? Tenths. What place value is the 2 in? Two is in what? Hundredths. With the THS at the end, hundredths. The 3 is in what place value? Go ahead, Jada. Thousandths. And the 4, what comes after thousandths? Go ahead. 100,000. Careful, before that.
10,000.
10 thousandths. 10. ten thousandths. Okay, so tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. You have to know at least that far out. Okay? When I look at a decimal, okay, we are looking at this decimal, negative 5.59. We have to think about how would we read that in the correct form. Negative 5.59 is not the correct way to read it. I should read it as negative 5 and 59 what? Hundredths. So you need to look at this number right here, the 9, and figure out what place value that is. Okay, the last digit. That's in the hundredths place, so that's your denominator. So this becomes negative 5 and 59 hundredths. Okay, so the whole number stays there. The number in front of the decimal stays as your whole number. The 59 becomes your numerator. The place value becomes your denominator. Can I simplify this at all? Can I simplify? Does 2 go into 59 and 100? Does 3? 5 plus 9 is 14, so no. 5 doesn't go in there, 6 doesn't go in there, 7, no. So we're done. This is our answer. Negative 5 and 59 hundredths. Okay, so this next one, I don't have to worry about the 0 in front. I only have to put a number in front if it's something other than 0. So we have a fraction. The 622 goes on the top. What number is going to go on the bottom? If I were to read that correctly, it would be 622 what? Bryn?
1,000.
Thousandths. The last 2 is in the thousandths place. So I'd put 622 over 1,000. And then I'd simplify it. Can I divide those numbers by 2? Absolutely, I could divide both of these by 2. 622 divided by 2 is 311. 1,000 divided by 2 is 500. Does anything go into those two numbers? I don't think so. So we're done. 311 over 500. So we've converted decimal to fraction, fraction to decimal. We've simplified fractions. Okay? So you know those divisibility rules. So your homework now